Hello, hello, hello. Let's see, I'll make an adjustment there. Okay, I did it again. I have not had any sound coming out through my vocal cords all morning because I'm here alone. Now I start a live stream and I realize, oh, wait a minute, I should have warmed up my voice because I got this croak in my throat. Chris says Doug is shaving. He realized he forgot that this morning. Well, I did shave kind of late today. Saturday morning, January 22nd, 11 a.m. Watch goes on the table. Let's get an AVDW check. Yeah, that's the right letters. So we check on audio, visual, DVR, and I put my watch on the desk. Actually, I'm not sure that's needed much anymore. That was originally so that Gary and Aaron, who have my cell phone number, can send me a text if there's something going wrong with the stream or in chat that I'm not seeing. Let's go take a look at what's going on in chat. So the comedy stylings of Black Watch going on this morning. I think I've heard 3 ding-dongs so far come into the Zoom session. I'm not calling you a ding-dongs. It's just I'm hearing the rings. Yeah, this Black Watch started right off. He says, I placed my order with the waiter. He calls himself DougBetts. 1 minute later, my live stream was scheduled. So that was a coincidence of timing because just when I finished scheduling the stream for today, email comes in from Black Watch asking if I'm doing a stream today or not. And then he says, now if I can only get him to smile. So here, at the request of Black Watch, I'm going to give a smile. Okay, that's a Black Watch smile. Then continuing on, Chris Garrett, I'm tired of being frustrated, so I just say, ay caramba. I'm going to start skipping down to the ones that are in orange. There was some entertainment going on from Black Watch that I'm skipping over. Chris says we're not replacing you, we're replacing Black Watch. And Chris says we're not, he says that twice. And oops, it went twice. He says he's on 1 monitor today, so he's a little bit handicapped. Chris says there's no such thing as a basic technician. The word is hobbyist. So actually, I don't know if he's got his laughing emojis there, but I thought, you know what, that kind of makes sense. And what he's referring to is in the description today. I say, I want to hear your short stories about fixing a computer. These should be stories of fixes you think highlight a lesson or a strategy that any computer technician can benefit from, including basic through advanced. And actually from hobbyist through advanced would be a reasonable thing to say. It would be best to tell your story while in the Zoom session. So if you've got a story to tell, I'd really like for you to come into the Zoom session, particularly hoping some new people to Zoom will come in. Wow, here's one of Ken Stout's unfortunate thumbnails selected by YouTube on his channel. Ken Stout has a channel where he does a lot of Zoom sessions. It's much lower, lower formality, just a lot of visiting and chit chat. Very enjoyable channel. Check it out if you're interested in just hanging out. It'd be best to tell your story while in the Zoom session. I may mute the rest of the participants in the Zoom session while you tell your story. So be forewarned, the rest of you in the Zoom session. If somebody new comes in and they're trying to tell a story and they're getting interrupted, I'm just going to mute you all. I know you don't mean to be rude, but sometimes some of you speak up and interrupt when somebody's trying to tell their story. So I don't want a new person in the Zoom session to feel frustrated with that. Other computer-related questions and topics from the audience are welcome. So let's go back to chat. Let's see, going down to see if there's any more comments that hit me in orange. Oh, there's some more. Yeah, let's see, make sure I didn't pass something. Catherine Anna Hauserman, hello to you. Chris Scared asked if I'm on the ball today, and yes, indeed. And what Chris is referring to is that right there. Sometimes I'm on the ball, sometimes I'm on a chair, in the hot seat. And let's see, which button do I push to get back there? I think it's this one. Yeah. And why? Chris Garrett is, Catherine says, why to Chris Garrett is Live Windows Training DougBetts a bear? I'm not sure what that means. Blackbart says, you are live, start talk jumping. Talk jumping. I ate all the ding dongs from Chris. Iowa Hawk, smiling is using muscles you haven't used in a while. Okay, so that's catching up with chat. How about the people? Let's see. If I come over here to the 3-dot button on the upper right corner, this is showing. I was struggling to find my mute button there before clearing my throat. Hello to Alan Barsness, hello to Blackwatch, hello to Chris Garrett, hello to Dan the Man, Darren Gilholm, Iowa Hank, Catherine Anna Hauserman, and hello to myself. One of the Dougs is there. Speedy C, hello to you too. Now that doesn't always show up everybody that has appeared in chat. It just shows up the ones that YouTube recognizes as recent in chat. So I'm scrolling down here through the names and see if anyone else, other names pop up at me that weren't in that list. CFWW, hello to you. You didn't show up in that list, I don't think. Who else? Anyone else? Darren Gilholm, hello. Tony Wallow, hello. And everyone else I think is covered. So welcome everybody. We've had a few doorbells ring for people in the chat room. So I'm going to switch over to the Zoom screen and then go into participants and admit all. Alex Cheek, Chris Garrett, and Darren Gilholm. Come on down. Hello there, Chris, showing in the upper left. Oops, somebody needs to mute their YouTube volume. Darren Gilholm in the bottom left and Alex Cheek in the bottom right. Chris, you're the only one that's got a camera on. Hi, how are you?
Hey.
All right, I'm laughing because I know you're looking at the computer screen, watching the screen. But there you go, glance at the camera. What's up, Chris? And then there's Alex Cheek in the bottom left corner. I think you just swapped corners when you turned your camera on.
I'm muted. I muted myself so somebody else needs to be.
All right, that sounds like it's coming from you, Alex. Because your square is highlighting.
Oh.
Got it now?
Now it should be muted.
Now it's muted. All right.
I saw your description and your title and thought, wow, what great timing! Because I'm currently working on an issue that I just had somebody brought me up a computer yesterday and I'm waiting on a part. But I thought since it's erroring out with a blue screen, I thought I could show you what.
Let's go for it. Let's go for it. Let's get this show on the road.
What's happened is it'll blue screen if you let it set and it'll blue screen and show a recovery message, and the fan will run. It will stay on for probably 2 or 3 minutes, and then it will automatically turn off. I assume that is Windows not wanting you to see the blue screen because Microsoft likes to set it to automatically restart by default, which I always turn off. But I'm going to show you the actual computer first. You can see. Oh well, I need to switch my camera over so you can see that. Turn off this stupid virtual background.
Oh, please turn it off. I'm not a big fan of virtual backgrounds.
Because it messes when I'm trying to show you stuff other than me. It messes with the... See, it just shut off, and I just wanted to show you. I don't know where you can see that, but it just turned on and the fan is spinning, and it will stay like that for a minute or two and then shut off.
All right. During that minute or two on the blue screen, is it saving the error log file? Do you see that message on the screen?
I can show you exactly. I've got this machine hooked up to my capture card, and my capture card takes as a webcam, so I can switch over to it real quick. There's the message.
Okay, keep us there for a minute. I'm gonna go spotlight your image. Let's say spotlight there. Okay, your device needs to be repaired. The boot configuration data for your PC is missing or contains errors. All right. And then there's a file name there, Microsoft Boot, BCD, I think. And the folder it's in is Uefi, I think. Whoops,
It
went
just
black.
shut off again. If you leave it there for a minute, it'll come back on automatically.
Oh, really? Oh, so the computer hasn't shut off. It's just the display image has shut off.
No, the computer's shutting off it because it's restarting, and you can see.
Oh, okay.
It just come back. Same message, just come back.
All right. You need to use recovery tools if you don't have an installation media file on disk device, or contact your PC administrator or PC device manufacturer. Press escape for UEFI firmware settings. If you press the escape key there, does it take you into the BIOS settings?
No, that's another issue with this great. This is an HP Envy desktop, by the way, and that's another great thing about it. Only thing I haven't done is taken out the BIOS battery because it's behind a bunch of power supply cables that I would have to pretty much unplug to get to the BIOS battery. So that's the only thing I haven't done. I tried every way possible to get to the BIOS, forcibly shutting off the computer, going in through the normal Windows Advanced startup through the recovery menu because I can't get Windows to boot, and selecting UEFI firmware settings in there. And if I select UEFI firmware settings in there, the computer will just see it and not show me. It'll show me the HP logo, but it won't show me the actual BIOS. And I tried hooking up my monitor, my actual monitor I'm looking at you on right now, because I thought it was an issue with my TV. Well, it's not, because the same issue happens with my TV and my monitor. So I cannot get into the BIOS. Now, I also, I think it's a hard drive problem, because if I boot up to a live Linux USB like Ubuntu, I can operate the computer from there just fine, and it never shuts down, and everything else works. Wi-Fi, all the RAM is detected.
Okay, so what's the BIOS key for that computer?
It's an HP, so typically the HPs use escape. It's F10 for the BIOS, escape for the startup menu, and then F10 for the BIOS. But I tried all of those multiple times, and it ain't letting me in. And I suspect it probably has something to do with the secure boot, maybe.
Yeah, okay, could be, but still, that should let you. It should let you into BIOS setup.
Well, no matter what key I press or how many times I restart the machine, it refuses to let me into the BIOS. And if I leave a machine just like this right here, like it is right now, and don't touch it,
yeah,
it'll keep automatically cycling like that.
Okay, I see somebody in chat tell me they're in the waiting room. I see two in there, Blackwatch and Jeff Raymond. So here they're coming in. Oh, I'm gonna turn off the waiting room.
And I've also tried doing booting up to a Windows installation USB, and doing command prompt commands like BCD edit, fix boot, fix MBR, and also none of that works.
Meaning you can't execute those commands, or they just don't fix the problem?
The commands, when I execute the commands, it says like command completed successfully, but when I reboot the computer, it doesn't fix. I still get the same error.
Okay.
And I made an image when I first got the computer, when I first got the computer, it was a different recovery message, but it gave me an option to use a different operating system by pressing F9, and if I pressed F9, it would boot Windows. So I tried to get into safe mode, and I got into safe mode for like a minute after waiting probably 10 minutes for it to log in because it's so slow. And I got some kind of hard drive error fault or on the login screen, but I managed to make a macro reflect image of it and back it up to the customer's external hard drive she gave me before the hard drive crapped out.
How's it, man? And hello to myself, one of the decks.
Okay, somebody's got an audio playing in the background. Okay, I think that's been fixed. So you refer to this as a customer's computer. So, and you've made a backup image of it. So this computer has likely programs and data on it. So we don't want to be too quick to wipe and reload.
No, I haven't even though that's another issue. Even though I've backed up made an image, I still I haven't formatted or clean installed the actual hard drive because in case something goes wrong with the restore to the SSD I ordered, I don't want it. I don't want to be, if something goes wrong with that restore, I don't want to be up a creek.
Okay, good. What's the customer's story about how this symptom came about?
The customer story is basically she had somebody look at it back in 2019. He didn't know how to operate a computer, and she didn't want to take it to Best Buy. But the whole thing started because Windows. She says Windows did an update, and she couldn't get it. And after the update, this started happening, and it's pretty much set for 3 years or 2 years.
Okay, all right. Oh, so it's not her current in-use computer. It's been not used for a few years. Right?
That's the way I understand it.
Okay. Well,
but she's a professional. I don't know if she's got another computer or not. I didn't get that far. But she but I can tell you that she's a professional photographer, like Tim is. When I did the images, it's 575 gigs compressed or whatever Macro and Reflect does automatically because I didn't change any of that. I only told it to only thing I changed in Macro is told it to verify the image after creation to make sure it was all there. And it took all of 3.5 hours or nearly 4 hours to back up.
Okay, let's go catch up with chat. And I have a very specific thought in my mind what I think should be the very next thing to do. But before I come out with that, I'm going to see if somebody else comes up with it. And let me catch up here with chat. Let's see, that highlighted one is the last one I looked at. And I just see that Tom K comes in with $2. Thank you, Tom. And Rick Late's coming in with $5. Thank you, Rick. Now, coming back up here to see some thank yous in chat. Speedy C, hi Doug in chat. Catherine on the ball. Bears were too long on balls too. I'm sure there's some humor in there somewhere, but I didn't quite catch it. Jeff Hardiman, I'm in the waiting room. Yeah, I got you in. See if there's anything else. Let's see. There are some comments in here related to what you're describing. Blackwatch, Jeff, I mean, so is I. Once Alex is done, we can go in about 2 hours from now. Yeah, that's Blackwatch humor. Wintermood, did you do bootrec /rebuild BCD?
Yes, I did that.
All right. And that's not what was next on my mind. Catherine is asking, what's the hard disk drive? Is it mechanical?
It's mechanical, yes.
Yeah.
It's probably a WD blue or green, something like that.
Okay. I.O. Hank saying it sounds like a hard disk drive issue to Catherine. Okay, some hellos there. Somebody saying hi to Tim Sal. So there's Tim. Hi, Tim. B.A. Tringer. And yes, indeed, I would slap Windows onto an SSD and check if that works properly. That's maybe the second thing on my mind. The first thing on my mind is disconnect the hard drive and see if you can get into BIOS.
Did that already, can't.
Oh, if that computer is not getting into BIOS when there's no hard drive connected, then you got a problem with the computer, the motherboard, the CPU, the BIOS itself.
Well, but see, the computer works fine when I boot it up to a Linux USB. I can boot it up into live mode in a Linux Ubuntu USB and do whatever. Everything works. The Wi-Fi works. All the RAM is detected. Everything. It just refuses to let me into. I just can't get into the BIOS no matter what I do.
Okay, so you said it's an HP Envy. What? Tell us what you know about the computer.
It's an HP Envy. I've got the. She sent me. I had her send me a picture before she brought me the computer of the service tag, so I can give you the model.
Service tag is a Dell thing. HP is a serial number.
Okay. Yeah, I can give you the number or whatever.
HP Envy 700 series from my old desktop. Escape should get you into a menu where you can do anything from, but that obviously isn't working. I would pull the battery.
Are you using a wired keyboard?
Yes, I am. Just a cheapo $10 wired keyboard.
Okay.
USB.
USB.
And a wireless mouse.
Wireless mouse. All right. I'm really suspicious about whether the keyboard is sending the correct signals at the boot time.
I thought that same thing too, because I seen that on the HP forums where they said that the computer didn't like the keyboard, so I plugged in a new keyboard. So I took the keyboard off that I use on my main keyboard that I use on my computer, plugged it in, didn't change a thing.
Is the keyboard plugged into a USB 2 port, not a 3?
Yes.
Okay.
It's plugged. Yes, USB 2.
Have you tried other USB 2 ports?
There's only two USB 2 ports. The rest are USB 3 for my keyboard and mouse.
Okay.
But there's some on the front that I didn't notice.
Is there a sliding panel down the front that opens up and shows you some more USB ports?
No, it's not. On the USB ports for this computer are actually on the top.
Okay, like on my Envy, I've got two USB 3s on the top front. And there's a door that drops down and you've got 4 USB 2 ports down there. And then there's some more USB 2 and 3 ports on the back where it's harder to get to when it's like under your desk.
Let me show you.
Yeah, let me make your image big again.
You're still big.
Hey, no, it's only big on yours. Let me let other people see. Well, wait a minute. Why did that not go? Spotlight for everyone. There we go.
You see that, Jeff?
Yep. It's not the same exactly, but it's similar. I don't know what model it is, but
No,
I didn't notice those until Chris pointed them out to me on Ken's Zoom last night.
Now show me the USB ports that are on the motherboard on the back of the computer.
that there's there's two USB 3s, and where my keyboard and mouse plugged in down there, those are two USB 2s.
All right, so down there at the bottom is your keyboard connector plugged in.
Keyboard and mouse, yes.
All right.
Hey, Doug,
Yeah.
can we have him boot it up from scratch and see where it stops at?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
did.
Well,
On mine, didn't see it, I'm sorry.
but how about are there any post messages before that blue screen message comes up?
No post messages, just all I get is the HP logo, just a normal HP logo.
Okay, so that's probably so kind of BIOS setting for fast boot. It's not displaying post messages.
Hey, Alex,
Yes.
try tapping F10 real fast. I mean, you got to be real fast. At the HP logo, try that real fast.
I do that before the HP logo.
Yep.
What are those bouncing dots?
Oh, that's the app that I use for my camera on my to show you because I'm using the camera on my tablet to show you. And if it's not actually connected, if I don't have the app open, that's just the screen that it shows while it's waiting for a connection.
All right, so you're not showing us the screen prior to when a video signal comes out from
We
the
want to see it
computer
from,
to your app.
oh, sorry.
Can
We want to see it from this power up on, correct, Doug?
say again?
We want to see it from power up to
Yeah,
this one
with
there.
with a camera pointed at the monitor, not this app capture device,
that-
whatever it is.
No, that's what you're seeing now is the app is my camera from my tablet.
We want to see just the computer, not your app.
But I can switch over to my capture card like what Doug has, and he'll.
No, just do a picture of it with your camera on your app.
Yeah,
I mean, on your tablet.
is there a regular monitor plugged into the computer?
Yes,
Okay.
We want to see just that.
but yes, you can see it. It just. Did you see the HP? It just showed the HP logo.
Yeah, but that's still through a capture device. You're not showing us a camera pointed at the monitor yet.
Well, the image you're seeing on my capture card is the same image that I got on my TV.
Okay, we're asking you to use a camera pointed at the monitor to show us that. Are you not wanting to do that?
I'll do that, but I'll lose your audio for a second
Okay.
because I gotta switch my.
We don't want anything connected, just the monitor to the computer to the monitor, nothing else.
You got a couple of issues in the chat, Doug. when
Yeah,
you're
I
talking.
just
Now I'm showing
replied.
you my tablet camera so I can show you this screen of this computer
Oh, good.
right there.
Good. So now we want to see it go through a full reboot cycle while you're showing us the monitor.
Let's turn it off with the switch.
Hey, what have you been saying, Doug? Have I missed anything?
Nope.
Well, no, we don't know yet that you missed anything, but we want to see it. To have the camera pointed to the monitor while it goes through a reboot cycle. We haven't seen that yet.
Okay, I will completely shut it off. Change my TV input and point the camera and then press the power button.
All right, perfect. Okay, so we didn't even see the HP logo that time.
Did you see it?
Yeah, but it was really it was really short and quick. You didn't give any.
That's all I get. Nothing else.
Well, there's that shouldn't be all you get. Why is this unusual? Why is this different? So you're plugged into a television set that is are you using an HDMI cable?
Yes.
All right. I just don't. I don't think you're being shown everything because you're.
And I tried to plug it in. I tried to plug it in to my monitor.
Yeah.
To my regular monitor here, and I get the same thing when I plug it in. So it doesn't make a bit of difference how I plug it in, if I plug it in directly or if I use the capture card or to the monitor or however I do it.
I understand it's not making a difference as to what you get. What we're asked, we got, technicians watching this. A technician should always insist on seeing it themselves. And you've got a non-standard setup there. I'm struggling to understand what that is.
Okay, what I've got, just so you know, is I've got the computer running to an HDMI. I've got the computer running to an HDMI switch.
A switch.
I've got the computer running to an HDMI switch. That the output of that HDMI switch is running to the input of my video capture card, and the video capture card has got an output. It's got an output, a lag-free HDMI output or whatever you call it. That's going to the TV.
I don't trust it. It's not normal. Can you plug that computer directly into a monitor without anything in between? Nothing unusual in between.
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to take a little time to do that and let us know when you're ready?
Okay.
All right, good. Let's, since your camera is kind of going all over the place, how about we turn off your video until you're ready for us again? Is that okay?
That's okay.
All right. Good. Thank you. All right. Any other comments from Zoom or from chat?
I like your suggestion earlier to just reset the BIOS by pulling the battery.
That's the one thing I haven't tried yet, Jeff, because I can't.
I understand. I understand you got a bunch of junk in the way, but
Yeah.
if it's not getting into the BIOS even without a hard drive or anything, there may be something has gone awry in the BIOS. The HP Envy I have, and I understand not all of them are the same, don't give you a tremendous amount of options to set from HP. It's not like you built your own, or
Yeah.
even Dell, I think, has more options than HP does usually in the BIOS that you can mess with.
Yeah, so even if resetting the BIOS defeats something that's needed for the computer to operate it, that should be reasonably easy to figure out. And the Windows Update could have done an update to BIOS. And if the computer got interrupted during that update, power went out, or if the user got impatient and forced to restart, maybe the BIOS has gotten damaged. But a computer that won't go into BIOS, that needs to be resolved before trying to fix anything with Windows. And it's not surprising to me that Linux might be able to operate even though there's a problem with BIOS. Now let me catch up with something in chat. I realized I was looking at this comment here. Please hide the user BH Ringer is what that looks like I'm saying, but BH Ringer has caught some spammers and had sent me some messages, so I'm just asking BH Ringer to just go ahead and hide them for now. And he obviously understood what I meant, but somebody else might not understand that's what I meant. Let's see. So hellos, trolls being pointed out. Yeah, it could be on ultra fast boot, and resetting CMOS should turn that off. So yeah, that's a good point there, Wintermute. Just by resetting the CMOS, we should at least be able to see the post messages.
Yeah. Some Indries like mine have a setting in there. Once you can get into it, I put in like a 5-second delay. So I can watch the post, because I like, in case something goes haywire, at least you got a chance to see what's going on.
Sure, and I think sometimes I've seen an option for verbose post, so it just gives more messages.
So the few extra seconds it takes, and if I get antsy, I can hit the escape key and it pops up the menu and hit enter, and it goes into Windows right away. So
yeah.
There's a way to short circuit it if you get antsy about it.
Okay, now my monitor cable, Doug, I know you're probably gonna like this, but my monitor cable isn't long enough to reach where the where this computer is sitting. So I do have a little HDMI coupler to connect my two HDMI cables, but that's the only way I can accomplish what you're wanting.
Okay, well in that case, I would say plan B is go ahead and reset the BIOS. Oh, but there's challenges for you doing that too, right?
But there's nothing else in between. So if I can get this computer to come back on, I can point my camera, my tablet at the screen, and you can see it.
All right. Catching up a chat. John Aloy Sr. says, hello to you, chat. Hello to you in chat from chilly Virginia. 32 degrees Fahrenheit and sunny, was 17 degrees earlier this morning. Speedy C, the PC seems to be in a boot loop. Yeah, and it gets that blue screen and then it seems to restart again. Neil GB says, unplug all devices and try booting. And yeah, I'd say that's where we're at with it. Now he's told us that when he disconnects the hard drive, he still can't get into BIOS, which tells me something's corrupt.
Can you make it so I can show my video again?
Oh, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Yep. Okay. Let me switch back here and ask to start video. I just clicked on that, so you should get a prompt to start your video. And then I'll bring you up on the big screen and focus on your camera. So there we got your camera full screen.
Now, I hope I'm fast enough to move to do this, or I could just. You see the screen just came on with the HP logo real fast over there on my monitor.
All right.
I get that same blue screen message.
All right. And is this as close as we're going to get to this view? Can we?
Yeah, I can move over, and we can wait till it restarts again.
Yeah, but when it restarts on this boot loop, we're not seeing a power on post. It's not doing a power on post.
It'll come up with the it first comes up with the HP logo, but it's real fast.
Okay, but you're not quite.
You don't see any post messages at all?
No.
Okay, and when you have the hard drive disconnected, do you get this blue screen?
No.
Yeah, it doesn't come up at all. Can you?
When I have the hard drive disconnected, this is what happens. I get the HP logo real fast for the post screen, and then nothing else happens. No matter what keys I press, I can't get into BIOS. It just shows a blank screen.
Okay, how about I know you're a little bit things are spread apart there a little bit, but what I would do in that instance is I would have the finger ready on the keyboard to rapid fire whatever the BIOS key is, and turn the power switch on. And I'm already rapid firing on that key as soon as I press the power switch. Don't wait for anything on screen. Just rapid fire it right now as you're turning the power on. Now, it might be difficult in your situation there where you have things set up.
I've got the keyboard right here. My keyboard sitting right here that I got connected to this computer, and I can just turn. You can't see it right now because can't hold my tablet and do this at the same time, but I'll show you if I get any message or anything.
All right, so yeah, you do that without worrying about the camera. Just rapid fire on whatever the post key is, whatever the BIOS key is, as you turn the computer on.
Should I do escape or F10? Because F10 typically gets you into the BIOS on HPs, but escape is the startup menu that shows you what the keys are for.
Yeah, Escape does the startup menu on an Envy. I'll check and see what it is for the BIOS.
Yeah, I would start with the escape key, and if you don't get anything with that, then do it again using the F10 key.
Okay, I'm rapidly pressing the escape key while the computer's off, and I'm going to press the power button and keep pressing the escape key.
Yeah.
You still need to get your standard.
Now that's something strange. Now I get a lot of red lines on the screen.
All right, I'll take it. We got something different anyway.
I don't know if you can see that over there on my monitor, but it's red lines.
Yep.
I would be suspicious about the cable connection, the display cable connection.
But when I first got this computer, I was able to it still came up with the recovery, that blue screen, but it gave me different options. Like I could press F9 to boot into the operating system, and it actually loaded Windows, and I was able to get on the lock screen and press Shift and hold press restart, and able to actually get into safe mode. But now I can't do that.
So the situation has gotten worse since you started working with the computer?
You would be correct.
All right.
But I took that image, I took that image before I took the cover off and started messing with the computer. So at the time I took the image, the computer was displaying just like it was when she brought it to me.
And you were able to boot the computer on a Macrium Reflect USB thumb drive, right?
When she first brought it to me, I was able to boot the computer into Windows, and finally was able to get into safe mode after 10 minutes of waiting.
Okay.
That's the reason why I think it's a hard drive issue.
Okay, but you missed the point of my question. My point of my question was.
Yeah, yes, I can boot into a macro display.
Okay.
USB.
Okay, I'm going to catch some comments in chat here. William Dawson says, strange if the motherboard should be able to boot into BIOS as it starts before any other operating systems. I believe you're all correct. A BIOS reset may fix the issue. If not, starting may be a bad motherboard. Yeah, we're on the same page there. And then Chris to William, if there was a Uefi firmware update from Windows Update that may have caused this. Yeah, that's a real possibility. Red screen of death. Chris has given a name to the red that you have now. Red screen of death. He needs to first reset the BIOS. Secondly, he needs to use another hard drive. I'm more interested in just getting into BIOS without a hard drive. You got to be able to get into BIOS setup. He has a new SSD coming, made a backup image, but when he restores it, may restore the corrupted install. Yeah, I wouldn't even mess with the new SSD until you're getting into BIOS.
Have you seen Windows Update actually install a BIOS on an HP?
Oh, I have, yes.
Because usually HP doesn't like you to do that except through their support app.
They call it firmware, and I have, Jeff.
Okay.
Yeah, they call it firmware, and I've seen it, and I'm suspecting that HP has to somehow provide that to Microsoft to be done, because if there's a BIOS update that HP feels needs to get out there to all the computers for security purposes, they can't rely on users doing that themselves. They won't. So I don't know how. I suspect there's lots of BIOS updates that are available that don't come to us through Windows Update. And I suspect, I don't know any way to verify it, but I suspect that it's only when HP feels it's important that this BIOS update get out there to all the particular model of computer that they put it into the Windows Update channel. However that's done.
Yeah, I guess I'm too stuck in the old days. I just don't like doing BIOS updates automatically.
Well, yeah, and this is maybe a case in point because it still could go wrong. But if HP feels that there's a severe security problem with it that's known out there in the wild, and I think it's reasonable for them to take that risk for an automatic update.
Hey, Doug.
Yeah.
I mentioned this to you before, but with Dell's, I don't know why this happens, but it seems to be a problem on the Dell forums. People having issues, but whenever you say I updated BIOS on my desktop from Dell, I downloaded it from Dell, updated it. When I go to Windows Update, it's going to show that firmware update because for some reason Microsoft adds another 0 to it. I don't know why they do that, but they add another 0 to that update.
Okay.
It's like it's reinstalling. It reinstalls that update. I hadn't had I've noticed it done that one time before I could stop it. I didn't have no issue, but I've seen where on the forums where people have had issues where it messed the system up.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that there could be circumstances where it messed up the system because when HP or Dell or whoever issues a BIOS update, have they tested it across all the different unique configurations of hardware that people might have out there? There could be some kind of a complication under certain circumstances. So I'm sure that they do testing across their range of standard configurations that they ship out to people. But even though, we say that Dells and HPs aren't upgradable, you can put other hardware in them. You can make changes to them. And those BIOS upgrades might not be tested across all those possibilities.
How old is this computer, Alex?
At least 5 years old. When I was able to access the hard drive in Ubuntu, and when I did that on Linux, it showed me that she had files dating all the way back to 5 years ago.
So we're talking 2016, 2017?
That's the year model of this computer. 2016 is when it was first available.
And he said she had licenses. She had
She has
licenses.
licenses for software that she cannot
Software.
get, so she has to preferably have this installed.
Understood. Okay. A couple more comments in chat. Speedy C says, could you use a USB to get into BIOS setup? There's nothing about a USB boot that gives you extra capability to get into BIOS. You should be able to just disconnect all the drives and still be able to get into BIOS. So a USB isn't going to help us get into BIOS. Chris says he needs to disable fast boot. Yeah, well, we have to get into BIOS to do that. Catherine, I say it for the third time, at least the BIOS battery has been replaced already. I say it for the third time, at least has the BIOS battery. We've already answered that. It has not been replaced. Alex has answered that. Iowa Hank, frustrating, isn't it? Well, we have answered that, so no. Have my eyes on someone, Black Watch Pork Roast. I do not care what HPIUS feeling. I do not care what HP is feeling. I have no idea what that means. DNT, just join. Yes, blah, blah, blah. Not interested, man. Catherine, you seem to be getting upset about something I don't understand. That's why I like a BIOS under my control, not someone else's. Yeah, that's for anyone who's technically inclined. I would absolutely be with you. But that reasoning that some people out there feel that way, that's not a sufficient reason for HP to not figure out a way to get a BIOS update out there to vulnerable computers in the hands of people who won't ever go seek a BIOS update. Dan the Man, is it a USB mouse and keyboard combo? Just try a USB keyboard, get in the BIOS, and we have answered that before too. He is using a USB keyboard. He is using a wireless mouse, but still just that there's a wired keyboard and is connected to a USB 2 port, not a USB 3 port. And it's the USB 2 port on the back of the computer that's actually on the motherboard, not one that's connected by wire. So yes, we have covered that too.
Do we know what model this is?
Not yet.
Specifically?
Not yet.
I can give you that info.
Yeah, let's get that.
And I'm still not getting into BIOS, and I'm spamming the F10 key, spamming the escape key before I even press the power button, and continuously pressing it after that, and still no BIOS.
Okay, well then the next thing is going to be reset the BIOS, and Catherine had insisted in being sure that you actually replace the battery with a new battery. Do you by chance have a new CMOS battery on hand?
That's a CR2032, right? I think my mom has a battery.
All right, that would be ideal.
But they're down in the laundry room where I can't reach them. Plus, I would have to have our help to replace it.
All right. I strongly feel that's got to be priority number one, is to get into BIOS. I don't care about anything about the hard drive until we get into BIOS. And then Catherine, yes, I am. Still do not know the model of this HP Envy. Alex is trying to get that for us. Yes, I am, meaning she is upset about something.
Okay, you ready?
Yes.
Yeah.
The model is M as in Mary, 9, Z as in zebra, 9, 2, A as in apple, A as in apple, pound sign, A as in apple, B as in boy, A as in apple.
Thank you.
Okay, that's the product code.
Yeah, but that'll give me the model number.
Yeah, that's excellent. That's excellent to have that. I'm going to paste that into chat.
It's a pretty good computer if I could just get it into BIOS and get it into put an SSD in it, it'd be a pretty good computer.
Except for all the techs that don't like HP products.
Nah.
I've had fair luck with them, but I'm just a sample of one.
Yeah, I have lots of HPs and Dells out among my business clients.
They're all made in China.
What?
No, you don't say. Oh no. Oh, let's see. Can we get? No, I didn't want to do that. I clicked on detect. I don't want to detect this computer. Let's see if I can put the product code into there. There we go. HP Envy Desktop 750-114.
Yep.
You won't, if you want, I can email you that real quick.
No, I've already got it. I've pasted it into chat. Does this picture on the screen look like it? Are you able to see the YouTube video, Alex?
Yes. Right now, because I disconnected my monitor.
Oh, okay. Don't worry about that then.
But I can still see it. It's still running. Yes, that is it.
That is it. Okay. Perfect. I'm going to bring up a manual, user guide. User guide's probably not going to have BIOS key, will it?
That's the one I had last night pulled up, and I guessed the model number. He didn't tell to get model number. I kind of researched it.
Yeah, it kind of threw me for a loop that there's no USB ports on the front. There's a little cover for the front because it's got like a DVD, like it's got a DVD drive like a laptop would have in it. So there's no USB ports on the front, so the USB ports on the top.
And it probably don't have USB 2.0.
It does.
It
There's
does.
actually two USB ports on the top, and there's two USB 2.0 ports on the motherboard, and two USB 3s on the motherboard, and two USB 3s on the top.
Starting, let's see, to start HP hardware diagnostics is the escape while it's starting, then F2. Connected USB, download this diagnostics. Yeah, there's a hardware diagnostics that can be downloaded and run from USB, but still that doesn't interest me any more than getting into BIOS. Go back to chat and see if somebody give me something there. Okay, there's the models. Thanks for posting in chat because I sure did not get it. And there's the model. Desktop. HP is not as bad as people think. They get the job done. No worse, no better than any other make out there before they have all their good and bad models. And I'm right on the same page with you, William. All right.
And this is a bad model.
It's a bad model? Why do you say that?
But he said I was responding to his comment because he said they have good and bad models.
Oh,
Envy's one of their better lines, actually.
yeah, it is. Are you saying it's a bad model just because this computer's giving you troubles?
Yep.
I mean, as far as getting into the BIOS, I've never ever had this much trouble getting into.
Well, something may have screwed up the BIOS.
That's not the fault of the model.
Well, Envy will be up there with like Dell XPS probably.
Yeah.
It's a higher end.
Let's see, escape key, and then F9 for boot options. I haven't seen a direct BIOS setup function key. They're just saying
I just honestly think HP wants to keep you out of the BIOS on this machine. They really don't want me to.
That's
It's
pretty.
a conspiracy. It's a conspiracy. HP against Alex.
Yeah, it's not about the computer, Alex. It's that HP wants to prevent you from getting into BIOS on that computer when it's in your hands. It's all directed a conspiracy against you, Alex.
Someone obviously disabled a fast boot or something.
Well, you can't do that until you get into BIOS.
Or until you get into Windows, which I can't do.
Yeah. Now, so you said you're going to have to get help to pull the BIOS battery, correct?
Correct.
All right. So I think if you're that's really the next thing to do is get the help. This just isn't gonna get fixed until you can take the needed step.
Well, I don't want to keep you tied up.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and move on to other topics, and we'll be eager to see how that works out once you are able to remove that BIOS battery. Then what I do, when I remove the BIOS battery, I'll hold down the power button for like 15 seconds, power cord unplugged, and then even leave the battery out for a few minutes. That's more than enough than is needed. And then put in a new battery. If you put in that same battery and it's old, or even, I don't know if batteries can get short.
Oh, it's the original. This is the original. It's the original HP image that was on the hard drive. So no one had been in this computer since it was from the factory.
Yeah, certainly the battery's never been replaced. Did we get a year vintage on this? How old this is?
5.
Support page said it was introduced in 2015.
Yeah, it doesn't look like an old model as far as the appearance of it. HP not is true. Some people cannot afford buy Envy or Elite models are better with computer powered down, holding down escape key while powering on the computer. Well, that's a reasonable suggestion. Kenny says just hold down the escape key while powering it on. I haven't tested that, but not a bad thing to try.
Or the F10.
Or F10, yeah. Here's Sam Van Thiel is saying F10 is the direct BIOS key for HP.
Yeah, works on my
HP to see if I can. I'm holding down the F10, and it does go in BIOS. If you hold down the F10, if you hold it down while powering it on,
I'm pressing it now.
Don't press it. Hold it down.
That's what I'm doing. Holding it down.
And turn it on while holding it down. I haven't tried that. Didn't know that would work, but that makes sense. Then Sam to me and Catherine, I have an issue with a cousin client's Lenovo ThinkPad unable to detect any SSD when trying to install Windows 10 or 11. My first thought there is, could the BIOS be too old to recognize the SSD, and could you do a BIOS update to solve that? Welcome you to come into the Zoom, Sam, so that we could, explore other ideas on that. Sam says to Catherine, he was asking about it a few weeks ago. He has tried and not, Chris to Sam. Yeah, that I know. Sam, I can email you for more mail. Emailing me more information doesn't really work for me, Sam, because that's like one-on-one tech support through email. That's not what my channel is about. I far prefer you come into the Zoom session and let's have a conversation about it. Provide the additional information to me in email, and I'll display it for all the people participating on the channel. But my channel is all about dealing with tech issues during live streams or during recorded videos so that other people can benefit from them. I'm not interested in just an email back and forth to help you with a problem. That's not what I'm about. F10 is for the boot menu, escape is for the main BIOS. Well, that's backwards of what I understood from
Escape
Sam.
gets you into a startup menu where you can hit F10, F9,
Yeah.
F11, some
Okay.
other
Mine is
things.
F10.
Kenny's calling that backwards.
Mine is F10.
F10.
Right, so is my NV. It's F10, goes directly into the BIOS.
Yeah, and the escape key gets you a boot menu.
Yep,
Yeah, then
exactly.
Not the boot menu, but a menu of choices. The boot device menu, I think, is F9, isn't it? Or F12?
Yes.
Yeah.
there's actually several keys on my HP. You can do F9 and it will bring up a boot menu too.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different choices.
Yeah, just about any key, even C# on a piano might work. Badoom. Got a little chuckle there. Catherine, does Sam send it in or get the technician called because after the tech works on it, there's still warranty? Motherboard and clear CMOS jumper. Well, yeah, I could use the clear CMOS jumper instead of removing the battery. Is that easier for you to do, Alex?
No.
No? All right. Yeah, that's tiny pins to deal with.
It'd be easier to just remove the battery, dude.
Yeah, that's my usual preference. Catherine says 6 years is enough for their battery to die. Yes. Ken Stout Live, what have I missed? Well, I'll pull a Kerry Holzman on you, Ken. Rewind the video and watch it. You'll just listen for a while. You'll catch up. I'm not going to tutor you on it.
Did I mention she's got over 500 gigs worth of data on this hard drive?
Yep.
So I had to order or get a one terabyte, and it took over 3 hours to back up.
Yeah, I've been through that. I know what that's like. Lenovo claims it's faulty SSD, but any SSD I try on that laptop is the same issue, but connected to my laptop, it's fully fine. Even a HDD health check says it's fine.
Because that got me nowhere. All that holding down escape and holding down F10 got me absolutely nowhere.
All right. Well, that takes us back to removing the battery, and you're just going to have to get the help for that, and we'll hear back from you later about it. William says, one time I had to remove the hard drive before the computer would allow me into BIOS, nothing to lose. He's already tried that. William, he's already disconnected the hard drive. He's already told us about that and still could not get into BIOS. Although, Alex, these recent methods you've tried with the alternative ways to do it with the keyboard, has the hard drive been connected through all of those efforts?
Yes, it has.
Well, you might try those again with the hard drive disconnected. Are you able to do that?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, well, that's another thing you might do, and we'd love to see some progress today.
The hard drive in this machine is the one thing that's easy to get to.
All right.
Just take the cover off and it's right there. I can disconnect.
Yeah, disconnect that and then try those same alternate versions of the keyboard. Sam says, I did a BIOS update, but same issue. Okay, got you, Sam. Let's see, I'll go back and check on, see if you sent me an email asking for credentials, Sam. You've sent an email about stuff. Let's see.
Hey, Doug,
Yeah.
I'm looking at the firmware available for this particular model, and there are 5 different BIOSes available, and not all the models have the same BIOS ROM in them. You got to know which ROM you're dealing with.
Wow.
They are HP labels the ROM or something on the motherboard. That's like my Envy. There's a particular ROM you have to get the BIOS for, and there's 5 IDs shown for this particular model, depending on what variation you have. So if you're updating the BIOS, you got to be careful to grab the right one.
All right. Yeah. Now, Alex, didn't you say that this computer's been worked on in a shop?
And she said that I don't know what that person did that she took it to, but she said that she had somebody else look at it, and that somebody else did not know Windows 10. So that's all she said. They did not know Windows 10, and she also said this is kind of off topic, but she also said her husband got taken advantage of by one of those technical support scammers, and he let I don't know if that was done on the same computer, but.
So she had somebody look at this computer that claimed to be able to help with the computer, but they weren't familiar with Windows 10.
Yeah.
That's the way I understand it. Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll just take that with a big grain of salt. All
I
right.
found it funny the first time I heard it.
So I sent the Zoom credentials to Sam in response to his email to me, and he sent me an email with some information about the troubles he's got going on. So when he comes into the Zoom, then we'll start working with that issue.
Okay, I am holding down F10 while pressing the power button with the hard drive disconnected, and I am getting same thing I did before when it was connected to the TV. Same exact thing with it connected to the monitor.
Meaning are you getting a blue screen?
No, I'm not getting a blue screen because the hard drive is disconnected. But what I'm getting, whether I have it connected to the TV or connected to the monitor, I'm getting the backlight comes on the monitor or the TV, whichever one I have it connected to.
Yeah.
But so the monitor is acknowledging that there's a video signal there coming from the computer. But there's nothing on the screen whatsoever.
Okay.
No HP logo.
Okay.
No messages or anything when the hard drive is disconnected.
Okay. Well, that takes us back to pulling the battery. I've got nothing
The
else.
only time I get any messages is or post screens is when the hard drive is connected.
Yep, he's got to pull the battery. He's
Yeah,
getting the
it's
black
got to pull the
screen.
battery. Yeah, and I absolutely don't care that you're able to boot it up on Linux, because that just, if you can't get in BIOS setup, that's got to be dealt with before anything else. Unless you want, well, obviously you don't want to just use the computer moving forward with Linux, because we need her programs and her data and so on. So that just takes us back to getting the battery pulled.
I tell you what, Doug, this is the hardest computer I've ever worked on. Of all the ones I've worked on at school and all the ones I've worked on for my friends and my family, this is the hardest one.
Now, when you say the hardest one, are you saying it's because the problem is resisting all your efforts to fix it, or because the components are hard to physically deal with compared to other computers?
Partially both.
All right.
Because I can't get the way it is right now without putting it on a table and turning it sideways and being able to get up in there behind all these power supply cables and
okay, you're finding all that.
I can't pull the battery out, and also it's resisting all my efforts to get into BIOS with the battery connected.
Understood.
Oh, but Doug, like Darren would say, it gets better. It gets better.
It gets better.
She has.
I wish I could, Darren. I wish I could, Darren, just get a new one, but
She has no record of her software licenses. None.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. I do recall hearing that, but I don't see that this is a worrisome problem yet. Another thing that I'd be interested in doing, if pulling the battery still doesn't get us anywhere with this motherboard, there's the potential of restoring that image to another computer. Macrium Reflect has an option for restoring to dissimilar hardware. and that would
Yes, but
include
I
all
only
her.
have I only have the free version.
Yeah, but if it came down to it, if it's what it costs for her to get a functioning computer, it means she'd have to essentially be buying another computer from you. It might be used or from wherever, and then paying what you have to pay to get the licensed version. That's doable.
I've already told her she has to pay me for my labor and also for the part.
Great, perfect.
Today.
Perfect. Well, you may also have to have her pay you for the license from Acronym Reflect Professional or Premium, whatever they call it. Catching up with chat. Yeah, that's Sam. He'll be coming in. He hasn't shown up in Zoom yet.
The best thing that can happen is if I restore that image to that SSD and plug it in. After removing the battery and all that.
Yeah.
If I don't get a blue screen and it just boots right into Windows, but I think that's wishful thinking and it won't happen.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. And even if it does, you haven't actually fixed the computer. You just found a way around the problem. Sam says he will be joining the Zoom in a few minutes. Great.
But also, Doug, you can look at it this way. To the customer, she brought me a non-working computer. So me putting a new hard drive in, if I get it to work, it fixes the problem.
Yeah, if you can't get the BIOS fixed, or if you fail even through removing the battery and so on, but you can get her working computer back. It's not what we would like to do, but if it gets the job done, sometimes that's okay to walk away from. And some people will be upset at me to be accepting of that, but when real life hits the road in getting a computer up and running, sometimes if you have a workaround that works, then go do that.
If this hasn't been running for 2 or 3 years, she's obviously got something else she's doing.
That's true. That's a really good point. Now, it may be that the stuff that's on there is important to her over the long haul, but she's been getting around it, but she still wants to get to it.
There might be a situation where you could retrieve the data files, if not the software.
Yeah, I've already got a backup, and I copied the backup to her external hard drive that she gave me. So after I backed it up, I went on my computer, plugged her external hard drive in, checked it, made sure the backup was there, and was able to mount the Acronym Reflect backup of this hard drive in my computer. So all her data files are there.
Yeah. And
Well, if you can see the data files, at least she's got those.
Alex, you may have to copy the user folder also, just in case you have to do a reinstall.
I copied everything. I made a full image of the whole hard drive. So everything is there, all the windows, all the programs, all the user files.
Okay, let me address something here in chat. Ken South asks, what's the ad blocker you can add to the browser? He must be working from a mobile device because when he tried to hit me in orange, it didn't work.
As far as I know, you can't do that on a mobile device, but I use AdBlock Plus, Ken.
Well, that's not the question. My reason for mentioning mobile is because he tried to hit me in orange in chat, by doing the @ symbol and LI, but that didn't work. I didn't turn orange, and that's because he misspelled LiveWindowsTraining-DougBetts, which indicates he typed the whole thing out manually, so he must be on a mobile device. Because when you do the @ symbol, you don't get the pop-up like you do. Well, I'll come down here, and if I do the @ symbol, KE, his name pops up, and you just click on it. He didn't do that. So the ad blocker, I don't even use it. I remember we dealt with it before. And what did you say was the one you're using, Alex?
AdBlock Plus.
AdBlock Plus. I think that's...
I use it mainly because if you're on the computer, it'll automatically block all the YouTube ads.
Yeah.
Like all the ads they put on like speedtest.net when you try to go on there and run a speed test. it blocks all of them.
Yeah. Now that you mention you blocking YouTube ads, I have a YouTube Premium account, which up until about a week ago, that means every computer that I have that I go to watch YouTube on, I don't get ads. But now I'm getting them, and it's like YouTube is refusing to let me use more than one computer at a time signed into my account. And I regularly use 1, 2, 3, 4 computers on YouTube as I move between rooms. But it's playing ads, and I have to log out of YouTube, log back in order to not get ads on that computer. But then I go to one of my other computers and they're showing ads, even though it still shows that I'm logged in as me. I don't understand what's going on, but I'm not a happy person about that.
But Doug, I've been using this AdBlock Plus extension for several years now, and it's always blocked all of the YouTube ads.
Yeah, I'd rather not use an extension. I understand that that's working, but YouTube, I have a premium account. I am paying to not see ads on YouTube. I should not be seeing ads. Dan the Man comes in with $1. Thank you, Dan the Man. Let's see, coming back to Sam Lazar, BIOS update via bootable USB. Okay.
I've actually done that before.
Yeah.
On an HP laptop, I had torn apart. That's the one that I was telling you that set for 6 months.
Yeah.
And before she came and got it, and I never got it repaired, never got the screen or the SSD for it.
Yeah.
But I was able to without a hard drive in it, without a screen on it. I was able to connect it to my monitor here.
Okay.
And update the BIOS on it through the USBs. No, it is possible. I just haven't.
Well, that seems like another option that could be done is to, if taking out the battery doesn't fix it, then do that update from a bootable USB. And then there's one of the YouTubers that fixes computers. Which one was it? I'm not sure which one it was. He was working with a motherboard that had a backup BIOS chip, and there were jumpers on the board where you could choose to boot from the backup BIOS, but an HP computer is not going to have that. That was a custom board. I'm way behind on chat, so let me get caught up here with ones that have hit me in orange. Catherine says you have to press escape first, then F10. I think Alex has passed that as being the solution. Let's see. I see that some of these others are talking about this issue, but I can't read every one of them. I'm just going to go for the ones that hit me in orange. Ida Rivera found out how to delete stubborn HP computer recovery partition and extend volume afterwards. Okay, delete stubborn HP computer recovery and extend the volume afterwards. Okay, I've never tried to do that because the recovery partition isn't all that big. Okay, and that may be Sam, but let me catch up with chat first. Yeah, that's Sam. Let me catch up with chat first. I'm going to try to move through this quicker. You need to press escape first and F10 for Alex. Yeah, the escape key gets you to the menu, and then do F10 to get into BIOS, but the escape key isn't doing the job. So there's the Dan the Man's at $1. Oh, uBlock. There, Iowa Hank uBlock, Ken Stout. That's the one that I showed on a video before.
Can I turn my video? Can you let me turn my video back on?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I turned that off when you just had the cameras pointed off at some other part of your room. Okay, I sent that through to you, and still working on getting caught up. Zavi Menoris here. Yeah, he says he's late, but here now. Glad to have you. Looking more for orange. Okay, I caught up. No more oranges. Although I realize a lot of those comments have to do with this motherboard. If you want me to be sure I see it, hit me up in orange. Now, Sam is here. So let's go look at Sam's issue. How are you, Sam?
Hello. I'm alright. How about you guys?
I'm good. So I've got your email up on my other computer. I've got it scrolled down a little bit to hide your phone number and email address.
Cool. That's fine.
And I'm getting ready to bring it up on screen so that people can see it.
Yeah.
And I'm just getting a preview of it to see if I can scroll all the way down here without revealing any other private content.
Cool.
And yeah, I see the last. You got to sign out your signature at the bottom. I'm going to avoid going down past the select the driver to install screen. Okay, so here back at the top. And oh, this must be, oh, you're actually forwarding a message that where there's somebody named Adam involved. All right.
That's a cousin of mine.
Okay, so here we go, bringing up a cousin of yours, you said.
Yeah, because I can tell you a story about the laptop if you want. There's a bit of a story to it.
Yeah, let's see if we can get your audio fixed. Your audio is really not good at all.
Let me check. How about now?
Oh, that's better. Okay, talk for a little while and let's see how good it is.
Okay, testing. That better?
Oh, that's better. Did you switch to a different
Cool.
microphone?
Yep, to my webcam.
Good. Yeah, that's much better. And probably help for you to be, facing towards it. Okay. So, do you want to talk us through the pictures?
Sure. I'll quickly tell you about the laptop. So, this time last year, my cousin bought this Lenovo laptop, the Lenovo L15, the 4th gen AMD laptop. And not Intel, AMD, and it's Lenovo. And maybe about a couple of months ago, his USB-C port stopped working, so he couldn't charge it. So he contacted the store, and they said, "Oh, we don't deal with that. Contact Lenovo." So he contacted Lenovo, and they came out to his place and replaced the motherboard. So that went fine. But when he even tried booting the Windows 11, his computer came with 10, but now it's got 11. It did an automatic upgrade. So when he tried booting to 11, it will give him a blue screen of death, as shown in my email. So what Lenovo said is reinstall Windows 10 or 11. So my cousin Adam gave it to me saying install Windows. So my response is 10. So I try and install 10 and it will not detect any solid state drive as shown in the email. Then when I try Windows 11, same issue. Even Windows 10 from a DVD had the same issue. So I'm at this state where any SSD I try, it won't be detected. If I try to boot into the SSD, it'll give me a blue screen. So I'm at a bit of a strange stage.
Have you tried the SSD in another system?
Yes, I have. I've tried it externally into my computer and I had no issues.
Good.
Okay, so here I'm showing your...
Yep.
I'm going to turn off the picture-in-picture while we look through these screenshots that you sent.
Yep.
So your device ran into a problem, needs to restart. This is what you get when you're trying to boot to any device. And then here we have
that's the
Lenovo Diagnostics Uefi showing the options to choose.
Lenovo wanted me to do a diagnostic.
They wanted you to run a diagnostic test?
Yeah, from the BIOS, had a Lenovo diagnostic thing which I ran, which they wanted me to run, and that came out fine except for SSD or something, which I think is shown later.
So then they're wanting, got a message here, install the driver, because this looks like perhaps the Windows setup is not detecting a hard drive, so they're figuring maybe you need a device driver for that hard drive, which we know should
maybe.
That's what it sounds. That's what it sounds like. Sounds
well,
like you need to go to the Lenovo website and download whatever it's called, the pre-installed
I checked the
driver or whatever in it.
I didn't see that on their website, but I can check again.
And click on load driver and find it on a USB or something.
Maybe I can try that.
I have not heard of or come across any occasion where you need a driver for an SSD device. I mean, there's drivers for high-end SCSI drives, but I'm not aware of ever needing it for an IDE.
Well, I know the only reason why I bring that up is because when I built my mom's computer and I was looking at the motherboard manufacturer website, I noticed that driver on there for like pre-installation that you put on a flash drive and then click on the load driver in Windows Setup and find it.
Interesting. Now this screen is interesting. Here's the diagnostics, the Uefi diagnostics for Lenovo.
Correct.
Keyboard, mouse, all this stuff passed. We get down to storage failed. Over here we got a device read test failed and an NVMe read test failed. And up here says storage Samsung. Now, is this an SSD or is this an M.2?
Correct. It's a M.2 NVMe SSD. I think Gen 3 or something.
Oh, so the motherboard has M.2 slots.
Correct. It's a fairly recent computer. Yep.
Okay, so that you could physically plug in an NVMe to a motherboard that only is capable of SATA M.2s, but it's not going to show up here. This is Lenovo recognizing
Correct.
NVMe. So that
motherboard.
That motherboard is telling us here it's capable of NVMe. Okay, so
Correct.
now and I eat my words a little bit. But when I was saying that I've never aware of an SSD needing a driver, I was thinking of a SATA 2.5-inch SSD.
No.
I was not referring to an NVMe. NVMe could need some driver. NVMe controller test not applicable. Temperature test, those are not applicable because it could.
I did a full test.
All right.
Full diagnostic.
And a result code. Did that result code turn up anything in a Google search?
I haven't looked that up yet, but Lenovo just wanted it, all these images. They wanted a diagnostic test, like a few other things, and I gave them a lot more information. I think that's help.
All right. I'm going to start hitting my cough button once in a while.
All good.
I think the motor needs a tune-up, Doug.
My whole body needs a tune-up.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah. So I'm going to put that my voice cracks. I'm just hitting puberty. What do you know? 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
I'm putting that result code into chat for anyone who wants to be searching it. Let's see. Then next is 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. And an A and a 0 hyphen UI 9V 1J. All right, result code, press enter, and you should see that right up quick. I did that on my computer number 3, so you didn't see me typing. I'm going to scroll down and see some more stuff. Oh, wait a minute. Here's another final result code. Oh, and a code. I can't even think of the name of that code now. What is that code? The graphic image there, you can point a cell phone camera to that and it should take you.
Yeah, QR code.
QR code.
Quick response code.
Yeah, so let's go do that here. Grabs
I will put the links to the QR codes.
Gives me a drop down. And it looks like there aren't many great matches for your search. False failure result code is displayed after Lenovo Solution Center. False failure result code. So that's not very encouraging. But any of you should be able to hold your cell phone camera up to that QR code that's on the screen now, and your cell phone should take you to that search results. Not that it's very useful. Let's see, I'm trying to go further into that. False failure result code is displayed after Lenovo Solution Center runs the PCI Express test on ThinkPad E420 systems. Was that a ThinkPad E420? Sam?
Pardon?
Was that a ThinkPad E420?
No, it's definitely not an E420.
All right, so that...
Yeah, it's no, far from that. It's a Lenovo L15.
Lenovo L15.
Correct.
Hey, Doug.
Yeah.
It's AMD.
When I do get around to removing that battery from this motherboard, how long should I leave it out before I put it back in, or should I just replace it with a new one?
You should replace it with a new one, but I'd leave it out for at least 3 full minutes.
I was going to say 6 months, but you know.
Yeah, I think it's the amount of time that's prescribed for leaving the battery out is probably a minute or something like that, but a couple extra minutes isn't going to hurt anything. So that would be my routine.
Doug, I found a manual for, I'm not sure if you got it or not, but I found a manual for Alex's computer. I'll post it in chat.
Sure. Yeah, I had pulled up the HP website for that model computer.
There actually are 4 variations on that model.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up again. I was just thinking of that because that is, well, now that product code, that usually narrows down because when I've gone to HP's website, put in a serial number, and then it says, we need more information to identify this computer. They want the product code, and that's what we actually started out with. So that, Jeff, are you able to verify that product code
I did a Google search on the product code, which takes me to an HP support page.
Yeah, does that narrow down? I don't think we actually got the
serial. And it's just a 114, but there's like a 114NF and a couple others as well. See if I can find that page again.
All right, let's see. What am I showing on screen? Let's go. Let me check with chat. There's that Dan's contribution. Carolyn Stout. Hello, this is actually Ken, not my mom. Oh, Carolyn Stout is Ken. The username that Ken's here with us.
No, it's not Karen Stout. It's Carolyn Stout.
Carolyn Stout.
Got the whole family in.
Carolyn Stout. Did I say it right now?
I don't know. I missed it. I'm just finishing up the notes on the previous segment, Doug. You said HP products are what? Stubborn? Is that what you said?
I didn't say they're stubborn.
Oh yeah, you did. You did.
No, Alex was just bad mouthing this HP model computer, and I was defending that, saying
I have it here. Alex said stupid, and you said stubborn. Just want to clarify this before we go on to the next segment.
All right, fine, whatever. Dan the Man, is the keyboard being recognized at boot? Try pressing caps lock, num lock to see if the keyboard lights up.
Keyboard does light up.
Okay.
Num lock light comes on.
The caps lock and num lock lights are responsive. You can press them and turn the lights on and off?
Yes.
Okay, great. Rick likes Catherine agreed. Deleted. Hidden by. Thank you, BH Ringer. Go ahead and keep hiding those folks. Carolyn, hello. While you're all hiding my stuff, please post the link to the manual. Let's see. I've got that up still, don't I? Over here. Let's give the link to this. I'll give the link to this because then you can choose which manual you want to look at. All right, so here's that link coming into chat. Now, where am I?
Alex.
Yes.
The only different models I see is the Energy Star or whatever.
Well, when I type in that the product number that I just gave y'all earlier, if I type in just like this in Google, if I type in HP followed by that product code, the first link that comes up should be the HP specifications page, and I verified that is this computer because when I was in Linux, I was able to look it up and see that it does meet the actually have the same specifications as what is specified on HP's website.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, there's 4 models. One of them is a 114NO and NF, one with no letters after it, and an NB.
Does
3 of them
one-
are Energy Star.
Does one of those have a graphics card, like a video card? The only reason why I ask is because this particular computer has a video card in it, and I was just wondering if it came from the factory with the video card or if she had somebody else put it in because she don't have an HDMI monitor. She only got it. So this video card that's in here has got HDMI, VGA, and DVI. So my assumption, but the motherboard only has HDMI. So my assumption is she had to get a video card and have somebody put it in because she don't have a HDMI monitor and only VGA or DVI.
All right. How about removing that video card and connect your monitor to the motherboard video and see how that does?
I would do that, but again, because of all those power supply cables, I can't reach my hand in there to take out the video card. But yes, I could try that.
Yeah, I would say that add that to your things to do along with the CMOS battery.
It looks like the one with the 114N0. It looks like that is the one that has the graphics card because it's got drivers.
So it did come with the graphics card. One of those models did come with the graphics card from the factory.
Yeah, it has the drivers.
Can you like pull up a manual and like see if there's a picture of the graphics card to see if it's got the same connectors on it? Mine does.
Let me see something else. I could do this. Okay. Product information. Well,
that's not pulling anything.
I'm looking for the service manual, which is what usually I'm using those for
so
laptops.
far I can't find anything but a user guide.
Yeah, it doesn't get into the components in the computer.
Let me ask you this too.
Okay.
Would HP normally put a piece of black electrical tape over a wire attached to the power supply in the computer? Would they normally put?
Wouldn't think so.
Because there's a piece of black electrical tape holding the Wi-Fi antenna wire that's attached to the power supply.
Yeah, they do that. I've seen them do that.
Does HP do that, or did somebody else get in here and do that?
Yeah, it's taped to the top of the case. I've seen them do that.
Well, this particular one is taped to the power supply.
Yeah, I've seen that too.
Okay, here, for the two of you that I think have been looking at the different variations on that model, when you go to product specifications in those manuals, this one that I'm looking at, let's see right here, product specifications. This one that I'm looking at says integrated graphics.
Doug, I found what he's got though.
Can you post a link in chat?
Yeah, it looks like there's one with the NVIDIA 970, I believe.
An NVIDIA
I'm not sure what the exact model of this graphics card is, but I know it's got a VGA, HDMI, and DVI.
All right, I gotta catch up with some chat comments. Let's see. Sam Lazar saying the laptop does have an Intel Wi-Fi 6 card, so that's Sam's laptop, not Alex. So we're talking about two different computers. We're kind of bouncing back and forth between them. So pay close attention. Chris Carrot, I got it, and then
Doug, I'll be right back. I gotta rejoin on my tablet.
All right. Well, I guess I wasn't as far behind as I thought. No, the motherboard
GTX 970.
is a graphics card in the model that.
I posted, yeah.
It's
I
easy.
posted it in the chat.
All right. Oh, there it is. There's the link. So.
But it does show it has a 128 gigabyte solid state drive, so I probably got the wrong one. Oh, caramba.
Well, now we haven't got a serial number yet from Alex. So if we get the serial number and it asks for a product ID code, that should get us to the exact one, rather than trying to compare components to figure out which one he has. There should be a label on the computer that has the serial number and the product code for that matter. Okay, so I don't have any more oranges in.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go take my dog out. He's needs to go out.
Okay.
The user guide is for several models. It's not specific to.
But we should be able to get specifications that are specific.
Yeah.
The model number, it's when you put it, I've had two recent experiences where I went to put in a serial number for an HP computer, and then it comes up with an extra field saying we need additional information to figure out which one you have. We need the product code. And so then I go get the product code and put that in, and then that takes me to the precise configuration.
Yep.
So what we're looking for there is, did this computer come from HP with a graphics card? Now, even whether it did or not, I still think pulling that graphics card and using integrated graphics is a reasonable step, because even on this one that I think whoever provided this video graphics here says GeForce GTX 970 or integrated graphics. It has both. So pulling the graphics card, it should still work from internal graphics. So if there's something wrong with that graphics card, even if it came new with the computer, then pulling that graphics card might get us to something that works. The displaying the prompts for entering BIOS that's going to come through your graphics card if that's how you're connected. So if there's something going wrong with the graphics card at that point, that seems like a little bit far-fetched to me, but
Okay,
still.
I'm back.
All right.
What did I miss, Doug?
Yeah,
Well, you remember he was showing red lines at one point.
Yeah, that's kind of speaks to the graphics card, doesn't it? Alex, are you able to give us the actual serial number for that computer? It should be on a physical label on the computer.
Yes, yes, I can. She also sent me a picture of the serial number. It's right under the project code that I gave you, so if I pull up that picture, I'll give it to you.
Okay. Where are we at with Sam's issue?
Okay, you ready?
Yeah, go
Yes.
ahead.
The serial number is M as in Mary, X as in X-ray, 61 8 0, B as in boy, number 1, T as in Tom.
All right. Here it is in chat. Then I'm going to go to HP's website, hp.com.
Yeah, I had her send me pictures of that before she even brought me the computer over, so I could already be looking at it.
Okay. So here in
All right.
support and troubleshooting, here's where they want the serial number. So I'll paste that serial number and submit.
That one pulls up the plain 750.114 page.
Yeah, it didn't ask for the extra product code. So that means this goes straight to it. Now, Jeff, are you saying within this page there's 4 variations?
No,
Okay.
the one without any letters on the end and something, those were all Energy Star models.
Okay.
And this is the plain model.
So this gets us to the specific model. So then if we go to product information and then select a topic and product specifications, and
You
then
don't get anything.
here's PC product specifications. If I scroll down here, video graphics is integrated only. So that makes it highly likely that that video card is it was added to the computer. I don't trust this path of information enough to actually put money on it, but that's what it looks like.
Where are you getting to the product specifications? I see a tab that says product information and it shows
Yeah.
nothing.
Do you see the field that says select a topic to see more solutions?
Okay.
There's a drop down
Oh,
list,
okay.
and then click
Right,
on
right.
product specifications, and that gives you a
Right,
list of
got it.
blue links. One of those says
Right.
product specifications.
Right, got it.
Okay.
Okay, so Doug, you think the video card was added by somebody else and it's not from the factory? Well, that contradicts what Chris said. Well, there's a model with the video card.
Contradicts what? Who?
Chris Garrett.
How does it
Yeah,
Well, there is a model that comes with a card, but it's not this model. It's not this serial number.
There are HP Envy's 750-114 desktop PCs that are going to have different serial number strings that are differently equipped. So if somebody did a Google search for this model computer by the model name, they could easily come across a model that shows an integrated graphics. And I actually did that. I've got that on another tab here. And I know, Alex, you're not looking at the YouTube video, but this, I've got another one on screen. It's exactly the same image. Now this one is a 750-100NX Energy Star, and that one does have a graphics card. It has an NVIDIA GeForce graphics card, plus it also has integrated graphics. But that's not the one you have based upon the serial number that you just gave us. Chris's comments previously, he did not have the advantage of having the serial number at that time.
Chris and I looked at the one that ends in an NO on the model number.
Okay.
That one has a graphics card or not.
Yeah.
I think.
And that also is not what Alex has, because
Right.
Alex doesn't have any letters after the model
Right.
numbers, just the base. I think you described it, Jeff, as the base model.
Right. That's just
Okay, but I just had a thought. Is it possible that Best Buy, which is where I assume she got this computer from, could have got these computers in from HP and put a graphics card in the computer, then sold it under a different under the same model. So what my assumption is that you could go to Best Buy where I think she bought it from, type it in, and see what you get.
They would sell it as refurbished if they did that, probably.
What she might have done, possibly remotely, is bought an extra graphics card because they said, you got to have this to run this game. Oh, she's a photographer. You need this graphics card.
Right. And so they might have installed it for her.
No, she told me that she plugs in to a VGA or she plugs into either a VGA or DVI monitor, and on the motherboard it does not have VGA or DVI, so she needs the graphics card in order to be able to connect her monitor.
Okay, so somebody has a graphics card.
Somebody installed it along the way because she needed it.
Hey, Doug.
Yeah.
I put in the serial number for that HP. Y'all might be already done this while I was stepped away, but I put the serial number in and pulled it up on HP, and it has drivers for a graphics card and the Intel onboard drivers.
Well, there is
using
a
the
model
serial-
that has graphics card, at least optional with it.
Okay, well, here I'll go to the software and drivers for this model. Let's see, it's going to make me go through
Does
this.
it show you, if you look at the model with the graphics card, does it show you a picture of the graphics card so you can verify it's got those same 3 plugs that I have?
No, I've got an answer for you. Was that Chris? Yeah. Yeah, so here's, when you go look for the drivers for HP Envy Desktop 750, I've seen this many, many times from both HP and Dell, that like here when I go to graphics drivers, they've got multiple different drivers here depending upon which card you have. What you're seeing when you get this list is all the drivers that might be needed for any version of this computer. That doesn't really tell us what this computer is equipped with. And here, network drivers. Look at these 7 different drivers. This computer doesn't need all of those. And that's why HP has this option here for detect my drivers. It's gonna, if you click on that, it's gonna detect which drivers you need for your computer. So in response, I think to Chris, no, the fact that there's drivers here for a graphics card, that doesn't mean that it came with a graphics card.
Doug, look at the BIOS section, just you'll.
Yeah, 5 BIOS.
And each one is for a separate ROM family. So
Right.
depending on the motherboard you've got, you
Right.
need to know which motherboard variation you've got to pick which one of these BIOSes you need.
Except that if you click on detect my drivers, it will find the right one. I've been down this road. It will find the right one. And Dell and HP, they give us all the possible drivers in case
Right.
you can't get to a point of being able to use that button. And I've back years and years ago, I would go through and try to figure out which drivers I needed because I somehow didn't like doing this until somewhere along the line I got my head examined by a psychiatrist or something and realized that's the way to do it.
If you look at the motherboard in my HP Envy,
Yeah.
someplace on that board is the last 4 that you see there for my particular model, which is not this model. But the motherboard should have something on it to indicate which of these 5 ROMs it is, someplace on there.
Oh,
It
sure.
should be something.
Oh, sure. And that's how you would go about doing it the manual way.
Okay, I got another question.
Yeah.
Is it possible that the video card in this machine doesn't like, or the BIOS doesn't like this video card? So the video card being installed is the reason why I can't access the BIOS. So if I take out the video card, and plug into the onboard video, the BIOS should load.
Absolutely.
Directly.
Absolutely. That is a reasonable theory.
I understand what you said about the drivers, Doug. You are right. They're different models for a lot of them. Yeah.
Okay. There's been some more comments in chat. Catherine says, check the back of the GPU. Well, he can't get the graphics card out, so that's not going to happen now. Let's see.
It'll happen whenever I'm still waiting for this SSD to come in. So when I get the SSD to come in, that's when I will ask my mom to help me take out the battery and pull, so we can, kind of do all that.
Okay.
Oh, let me interrupt for 1 second, Doug.
Okay.
Alex, I wouldn't wait and put the new drive in. I would take the old drive out and try all the testing without any drives in it, and you might risk data that way.
I've got the hard drive unplugged right now.
Okay, good.
Yeah, but yeah, I guess thanks for intervening there, Gary, because that was slipping past me. Your next moves to summarize will be when you get the help for doing it, pull a CMOS battery out, wait 3 minutes, put a brand new CMOS battery in, see if you can start it. If you can't, shut it down, take the graphics card out, connect your monitor to the motherboard video, see if you can start it. Now, the new SSD, there's no point of doing anything with it at all until you can get into BIOS, unless you conclude that it's unfixable, and if you can get the computer to run by restoring the image to the SSD and it works, you're willing to send it out. I think that's a long shot, but there's other options still for fixing it, even if removing the CMOS battery, replacing that with a brand new one, removing the graphics card, you still can't get into CMOS BIOS. Then the next thing is to see if you can flash the BIOS from a USB memory stick, because if the BIOS is damaged, then just taking the battery out and replacing it, if it's got BIOS firmware in there, replacing the battery is all that's going to do is erase BIOS settings outside of default. That's not going to fix the damaged BIOS code. But a lot of times, like this is why we were frightened about getting a power loss during a BIOS upgrade. If the BIOS firmware gets corrupted, it's often it's a brick. That's what we call bricking your motherboard. It's not fixable unless you go into soldering and removing the BIOS chip and replacing it with a fresh BIOS, or if there's some other deep level way of doing it.
The way I understand it, Doug, is if the BIOS gets corrupted, then Windows wouldn't even attempt to load when I have the hard drive connected, which it does. It brings up that blue recovery screen.
I don't think it's fair to say that a BIOS corruption is going to produce only one effect, only one symptom. Because what is corrupted in the BIOS? Is it this little tweak setting over here? Is it some little setting that Windows has a problem with? Is it some setting that the BIOS setup screen has a problem with, but other things may work? So I'm reluctant to buy that explanation. But I say that as a person who has not experienced working on a lot of damaged BIOSes. When have I ever come across that? I don't know if I ever have. So somebody who is in a sole business that says the only thing that I do with computers is people send motherboards to me that have bricked motherboards that the BIOS is damaged, and that's what I do every day, all day long, day after day. That's the only thing I do. If that type of person is telling me that our symptoms do not point towards a corrupted BIOS, then I'll give that some credence. Dead silence.
Well, I think we all agree with you.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Are you okay with that, Alex?
Okay, so my original first step, just because it's easiest, was gonna be to restore the image to the SSD. But you're saying I should pull the video card out first.
Yeah, I do.
And boot it up with onboard video. See if I can get to the BIOS. If that doesn't work, pull the battery out.
No, pull the battery first.
Yeah,
I would pull the battery.
Pull the battery. I would pull the battery as number one. That's the first step.
Yeah. Battery first. If that doesn't, and replace with a new battery. If that doesn't do it, pull the graphics card. Try it. The part about restoring to an SSD, I mean, that may be easier under your circumstances, Alex, because you need to get help for the battery and the graphics card. And I could see if you may wind up deciding after we finish this live stream that, all right, guys, I understand what you're saying, but this is easier for me to try and it doesn't have much downside. I could see that you might go ahead and do that. And
if it fails and it doesn't work, I still have the backup, and I can always erase the SSD and start over.
And you can still then
I don't have anything better to do.
Yeah. So if it's going to be a number of hours. Let's just suppose it's going to be a number of hours before you get the assistance for the CMOS battery, and you have this time on your hands. So you restore the image to the SSD and you try it. Okay, that I think it's a long shot. If it works, then you can come back and thumb your nose at us and say that it worked. But we're still going to say you haven't fixed the BIOS problem. That should get fixed. It's just unhealthy to send the computer back out without a properly functional BIOS. Properly functional means you should be able to get into the BIOS setup screen at the very minimum.
Doug, Alex, I also have a question. What problem caused this? You kind of got to fix the problem that caused it.
Windows
Well,
update.
she says it was a Windows update. That's what she said.
Give that a little, take that with a little bit of grain of salt.
And
Because,
somebody else has tinkered with this before Alex got it.
yeah. But the Windows update, it's very believable to me that could have caused some kind of a compatibility issue to become apparent. And
And I have no idea what version of Windows this machine is running. I was barely able to get it in safe mode and look at her icons.
And when you did that, I guess you didn't check to see what version it was.
When I did that, it was so slow I couldn't do anything with it. So I said, heck with this, and just turned it off.
Yeah, okay.
Because it took 10 minutes just to load into. It took 10 minutes once I got the password in correctly just to load into safe mode.
All right. All right.
That sounds like a dying hard drive, by the way, to me.
That's
And
exactly
10
why.
minutes to get into safe mode? No, that's a dying hard drive.
Agreed.
And it also gave me, I don't remember what the error is, but it also gave me some kind of hard error on the lock screen with a little yellow exclamation mark when I was able to get it to load Windows.
All right.
We couldn't get into BIOS either, though.
There's also that BCD error, which the bad hard drive could have caused Windows to be corrupted.
The best thing I can hope for is that if I restore the image to the to this new SSD, whenever Amazon decides to give it to me, I hope that the blue screen will just go away and it will boot right up into the Windows install, and then I can clean up the Windows and redo the battery for the BIOS and the motherboard and the video card and all that at that.
Okay, I'd like to take a break there and welcome Javi Manor into the Zoom session, and let's hear what do you have comments you want to make on this, either Alex's issue or Sam's?
Yes, first of all, I think you have to put out the video card and then see if you can get to the BIOS. It's only the issue of video card and not else.
Okay, I wouldn't resist that at all. Do the video card before the BIOS, fine.
If the Windows start up, but with the issue, it's not BIOS issue.
But you still should be able to get into the BIOS.
Yes, but because I think there is a problem with the video card, you can't enter.
And that's what's preventing from getting into BIOS.
Yes.
That's fair. That's fair. No, I don't resist that at all.
That's a very good point.
Okay.
Could a driver update to the video card fix the issue with not being able to get into BIOS with the video card?
No, because the driver update only affects Windows. When you're trying to get into BIOS, that's got nothing to do with Windows. So that's got nothing to do with the
I only bring that up so with this video card, because the customer needs it, she would never be able to get into BIOS, but she would never need to get into BIOS.
If you pull out the battery, the defaults may not be appropriate. On my NV, if you go back to defaults, there's one or two little things that aren't set correctly on my HP Envy.
Yeah, you may have to choose a SATA mode.
Yep. AHCI or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. That could be. So removing the graphics card saves you from encountering the BIOS reset. I think I'm really sold on that.
But if the battery's 5 or 6 years old, shouldn't he replace the battery while he's working on it?
I would.
And that will default the BIOS settings.
Yeah, but do that after. Yeah. Do that after you're able to get into CMOS setup and become aware of how it is set. If you're able to get it functioning,
that's fair.
With a graphics card removed, then go get into BIOS and find out what the SATA mode is and that it's UEFI rather than legacy, and what else would there be?
That's one thing I do know about how the BIOS is set up. I do know that it is in UEFI because the little spinny dots for Windows loading come up below the HP logo.
And
little circle?
Yes.
And then it's Windows 10.
It's Windows 10, and I do also know that it is in UEFI mode.
I wasn't aware that the position of the spinning circle of dots tells you that it's UEFI.
No.
How you know if it's UEFI or not is if the little dots come up for loading Windows on the same screen as the HP logo. If it's in legacy mode, the HP logo will come on, and then the Windows logo will come on with the little spinny dots underneath that.
All right. I wasn't aware of that. Would never had a cause to pay attention to that. Hey, I'm wondering, Sam. We started working, talking about yours. I don't even remember where we're at.
Trying to.
NVMe driver.
Possibly.
Windows setup.
Yeah, I checked Lenovo's website.
That's right.
I checked Lenovo's website and couldn't find any drivers for installation of Windows.
You probably won't find it on the Lenovo site. You'll find it at Intel.
Yeah, and I checked Lenovo's website on how to reinstall Windows, and it said burn and make it bootable USB, and you should be fine. So I'm like, okay.
Let's restate your situation for the people who weren't with us back then.
Cool. Yep, all good.
You've got a. You go ahead and do it. I don't trust myself.
Sure.
Right.
No, that's all good. So one of my cousin's husband, he had a faulty USB-C port for charging. So he contacted the store, and the store said, "Oh no, contact Lenovo. It's still under warranty." So Lenovo came out to his place and replaced the motherboard. He has a Lenovo L15. But when they replaced the motherboard, whenever you boot into Windows, you'll get a blue screen of death. And I did send Doug a whole bunch of screenshots like that blue screen of death error. Since, we got blue screen of death, Lenovo said reinstall Windows 10 or 11. So my choice was 10. So whenever I try to boot into a Windows installation from a USB, hard drive, or DVD, I can't find the solid state drive installed. Even if I change the solid state drive to my own, which is also an NVMe drive, I still have the same issue of not being detected. And when I put any of those solid state drives externally to my computer, I have no issues.
This is an 11th gen, I assume.
No, AMD Ryzen 4, 4th gen.
4th gen. Okay.
Yep. Ryzen 7.
Did you go look at the Intel Rapid storage?
I have, and I've downloaded it, and I've got a folder with a whole bunch of various files, some sys files, INF files, cat files, EXEs, DLLs. Maybe that could be something.
Hey, Sam, if it's an AMD, doesn't it mean like AMD chipset drivers?
Maybe, but sometimes they use Intel. But Dad's got the same laptop, but with a Ryzen 7 Pro instead of a Ryzen 5 Pro, and he has Intel updates from time to time.
I'm not an expert in AMD, but I thought they needed the AMD chipset, and the Intel chipset stuff would not be good matches.
Gary, it depends on certain things. You will find that there may be an AMD CPU in there, and there may be some AMD chipsets in there, but there's Intel stuff probably in there as well.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
And in particular, if there's two ways that they deal with, I think there's two ways that they deal with the rapid Intel, the rapid storage technology. Some of it is actually in the firmware of the device. And basically what you have to do is you have to put the driver on the same thumb drive as you're doing the Windows 10, 11 install. When it doesn't show any drives, there's an item on the screen that says about loading another driver, and then you point it to it, and then magically it appears.
Okay, I haven't tried that, but I've also done a BIOS update and had no luck.
This is. I don't think this is necessarily a BIOS thing. I think this is a firmware thing inside the laptop itself.
I got a quick question. Most of the Lenovo's that I know come with both, or not both, but they have either AMD or Intel in the same model.
Correct. This is the AMD one.
Could they have replaced it with an Intel?
No, they have not. Because what I can do is connect up a webcam, another webcam, and show this laptop screen. But if I go into the laptop, I think
it was a stupid question, but
no, they would have done the same. They would have definitely done the same. But I go into menu. Let me go to setup. Entering BIOS.
Okay, the web page that I have on the screen now is the link that Sam put into chat.
Correct, and it's an AMD Ryzen 5 Pro 4650U with Radeon graphics.
And also gonna to refresh people, or maybe that weren't with us at the beginning, I'm gonna come back to your email.
Cool, that's fine.
To show, particularly the one that I think is of interest, is this Lenovo Uefi Diagnostics screen.
Correct.
Where a bunch of things passed, storage failed, and over here on the right-hand column,
which Lenovo wanted me to do.
Device read test failed, NVMe read test failed, and up here this model number is the correct model number for that NVMe, is it, Sam?
Yeah, that's the NVMe drive. I've got the original one as we speak.
Okay. So BIOS is not recognizing it. Now, how about update to BIOS? Did you already tell us about that?
I've done that. I made a bootable USB with the BIOS, but you can make a bootable USB, and I updated the BIOS, and same issues. That diagnostics with the current BIOS.
Okay.
Latest BIOS.
Have you tried other NVMe drives?
I have, and I still get the same issues.
Same issues. They also fail.
Correct. When I put in my own Samsung solid state drive, I think it's the 970 Evo Plus, similar storage size, same issue.
And that's an NVMe as well?
Correct. Right. NVMe Gen 3.
How about something wrong with the motherboard, the socket itself?
Could be. It could be a faulty a motherboard in another area.
Have you used some kind of magnifying device to examine the socket?
No, I have not used a magnifying glass or something.
Yeah. I feel attracted to that.
Cool.
Do you have one of these Logitech webcams?
I have a Logitech Brio, which I'm using as we speak.
That would probably work, or you could, because the reason why I say that is because that can you can get that right up close and change do a manual focus on it and see a much better image than you'd ever see through a magnifying glass.
Cool. I can do that.
Also, a close-up cell phone picture and then zoom in on the picture, but I like the webcam better.
Yeah, webcam's easier.
Yeah. Is that something you're going to try later on your own, or is that something?
I'll try that later. So
Yeah.
I'm using the webcam right now, but also I'm able to boot into Windows Recovery, but I still get that blue screen of death error.
You're able to boot into Windows Recovery even though you're getting these failed messages. Yeah, whatever problems you're having at that time with it, a blue screen, I don't think that has anything to do with Windows. I think that has to do with the computer not communicating properly with that device.
Yeah.
Hey, Zavia's turned his camera back on, which I think probably means he has some comments on this subject. Yes?
Not really.
Not really. Okay. I like to see faces on screen, so anytime somebody turns their camera on, that's always preferable.
Yeah.
I was thinking that that's a bad motherboard or whatever for Sam.
Yeah. It's if no NVMe's will work. Is there a second socket?
No, there's only one slot for NVMe drives.
All right. I don't suppose you have one of those adapter boards that you can plug into a regular expansion slot, and that's for NVMe boards?
No, I don't. But I've got an NVMe to USB adapter, like to make an NVMe drive external.
Yeah. And
I've plugged in the drive externally to my own computer, which I'm using for the Zoom call, and I've had no issues.
Yeah, so the drive works. It just doesn't work in that motherboard, and no NVMe's work in that. How about a PCIe M.2? Have you tried?
I've got an older SATA M.2 drive, 100 gig drive. Can try that.
Yeah, see if it works.
I'll try it. It's old and slow, but I'll try.
Yeah, because if it won't work either, then that really points to something physical with that slot or the circuitry in the motherboard connected to it.
Yep, can try that. Yep.
All right. Well, I think both Alex and Sam have their homework. Does anybody else have other issues to bring up? If not, we're gonna wind this thing down.
Doug, I have one more question.
Yeah.
Since the motherboard, if the video card is the problem, since the motherboard has HDMI and her monitor does not have HDMI, she uses either VGA or DVI, I would assume her monitor has both VGA and DVI. I have an HDMI to VGA converter that I'm not using anymore for my monitor. Would it be of any assistance to her if she, because using that, she can plug into the onboard video. Would me giving her that be of any assistance to her at all?
I'm not sure what you mean by a converter. I'd rather just use a cable that has, you buy a cable that's got the ends that you want.
I have an HDMI to VGA converter.
Absolutely.
A cable wouldn't work because it's digital. It's converting a digital to analog signal.
No, that works. You can get an HDMI cable on one end and VGA on the other end. You don't need any special converter.
I didn't think you could do that. I thought you needed a converter.
Oh, I've done it all kinds of different ways.
But I already have a converter that works that I could just give her. So do you think that would be beneficial for her, or would it just be another added?
As long as she knows that's what she's getting, yes. I mean, be worthwhile.
Yeah. Does this converter need to plug into electrical?
No, it's got a plug for electrical, but it doesn't just for the video signal. It doesn't actually need it. All you have to do is plug in an HDMI cable from the motherboard into the HDMI in port on the converter, and then plug your VGA cable from the converter to your monitor. That's all it is.
Well, it probably would work, but I just cringe at it because I just think it's just extra clutter rather than having one cable that goes that handles the whole job. But
Or
I
if her monitor has DVI, I could just get her, tell her that she needs to get a cable like what I have.
Yeah, well, I would never tell an end user to go get the cable. I'd rather select it from Amazon and maybe send them a link, let them order it. But typically, somebody who's asking you to fix their computer is probably not able to do that themselves. But you can get cables with pretty much any video connector on one end and that you want, and the other on the other. Now there is an issue. I've seen people that take an adapter. Let's see, I probably have. Oh, do I have? Okay, here's one just for HDMI on one end and DVI on the other. Well, some of these adapters are one direction, and so they'll take these and they'll try to turn them the other way for the signal to go through the other way, and it doesn't work. So, and
that's one thing I made sure of. I made sure of when I got this HDMI to DVI cable that I'm using.
Yeah.
I made sure to get one, if it's an Amazon branded cable that does bi-directional, so no matter which way, if I have to ever plug it in the other way for whatever reason, I can.
Yeah, you'd always prefer to do that. I only mention that because sometimes people just pick up an adapter and expect it to work. So let me catch up in chat here. Greg Guy saying, hello, Doug, Jeff, Sam, Alex, all in chat. Sam put in his link. No, Sam Van Thiel. This device. What is he showing us there? Oh, okay. Well, this is an adapter. But again, I'd rather just have it a cable. The adapters are nice to have around, and I have those. I have that one as well. But I'd rather just, because if you have an adapter, the customer calls you one day and says, my video's not working, well, then they need to go disconnect and reconnect every one of those connections to perhaps restore the connection. But if they just have one cable going both ways, that's easier to accomplish.
My mom's old HP had the opposite problem. We've got one of our neighbors that lives here in town is the computer technician uptown at the square. So he actually, at that time, she actually took it to him for him to look at it. And according to him, the onboard video on her CPU died. So in order to get it to work, he had to put in a DVI video card to connect to her monitor.
All right. Here I've got I went to a video link that was this? Oh, you lost did you lose my chat? You lost my chat window that time. Let's see, come back here and come up here, restore chat, and then pop it out again. Where is it? Here. Pop out chat and scrunch it up big. Scrunch isn't the right word, I know. And over here. So I was trying to get caught up here. Won't scroll. Marty Yoel, $10 for the house. Thank you. Yeah, Sam Van Thiel. I went to that. He was trying to take us to, no, I'm sorry, Kenny Whidden. I already went to Sam's link. Kenny Whidden to Sam Lazar, look at this video. And when I went to that, all right, try again. Right click, open a new tab.
Yeah.
Here, watch this, watch this. It's advertising, is it? No, it's not doing advertising this time. Last time I clicked on it, it went to advertising. Where do you want to install Windows? No drive showing up. Yeah, that doesn't sound like it's on point.
This computer is making me want to tell this customer, I've made an image of your hard drive. why don't you just let me build you a computer, and then I can copy your image over to the new SSD and put whatever else I need to on there to make it work.
Well, from what you already said about the apps she has that she doesn't have installation media, it sounds like that could be complicated. It certainly doesn't sound like an easy solution.
And she probably is not willing to to spend the money. She probably doesn't have the money, or is not willing to spend the money to get a new computer, because it'd be at least $700.
I think you have. I think you have plenty of hope of fixing this. I don't think this is nearly the lost cause that you're feeling right now. I understand the feeling. I've been there.
And I'm not saying it's a lost cause right now until I actually get the parts and the SSD and go from there.
Okay. Well, the SSD has nothing to do with it. It's the BIOS first, and then the SSD is your next step. If you can get BIOS working now, I understand you have your mind stuck on the restoring the SSD, plug it in, and it just might work. Buy a lottery ticket. I don't.
Hey, Doug.
Yeah. What?
Yeah, you got better odds.
Once he resets that BIOS and gets that video card out, he probably should run the HP Diagnostics or some diagnostic software, if not HP, but and just to check for any other hardware issues.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well, that was Jim's conclusion as to what the issue is he thinks it's a bad hard drive.
Oh, I'll almost bet on it.
Yeah,
I'll almost bet real money that hard drive's dying.
I don't buy that. I'll take the other side of that bet.
Okay.
And now, when you said that, it was because the amount of time that it took to get into safe mode. I have seen that. And if Windows is trying to repair from some trouble, it can take a long time. And it's a spinning hard drive. In 10 minutes to get into safe mode, no, that's a nothing burger. I wouldn't be worried about that at all. So, Jim, you and I are on opposite sides of that, and we'll just...
Oh, yeah, I know. I know.
Agree.
First of all, what's the age of this machine, roughly?
5
years.
5 years.
Yes.
Yeah,
But
it's getting to be about that time.
And
Jim?
getting into safe mode was possibly with a defective display adapter. And the display adapter could have added to the time of getting into safe mode.
I'm not sure how that could be, since in safe mode, Windows 10 generally loads a generic BGA driver, which is nothing.
The signal's still going through that card.
Hey, Jim, Alex said the computer hadn't been used for 3 years, so now you're a 2-year-old hard drive. According to the customer, that had been used for 3 years.
Her first mistake was taking it to Best Buy, but we won't go there.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah.
Best Buy has no clue. Anybody that works there has no clue.
It's a training ground for new technicians.
Or blithering idiots.
Or what?
Blithering idiots.
Oh, all right.
I comment. I'm not in the US.
So if you work for Best Buy and you're in the chat room and you want to say hello,
there's 2 places I don't want to work for.
We'll be kind.
My internet company and Best Buy.
Yeah.
All right. Let me customer service or anything for either one of those 2 companies.
Let me get back to chat. Catherine saying just get an HDMI to DVA cable because VGA does not transport sound. Well, we don't know that they need that customer. Alex is using a VGA monitor. Is that what it was?
I don't know, but I've still got these 2 monitors. I've still got these 2 monitors sitting here that I need to find a home for that Robert sent me.
Yeah.
So I depending on what I'll ask her about her monitor. Depending on what she says, I may just give her one of those monitors.
Well, every time that I've had a client use the speakers in a monitor for sound, it's never been good enough. I've always used external speakers, plug into speaker ports, so I really don't care about not sending sound through.
The two monitors I have sitting here in the box don't have sound, don't have audio in them, but my monitor
All right. I need you
on
to.
my computer does, and it sucks.
Alex, I need you to quit commenting on everything that I say because I need to get through this chat, okay?
I'm sorry.
All right. Sam, I just remembered when I booted from Linux, the USB, the SSD was not detected, so even Linux had the same issue. Oh, interesting. Which goes back to the motherboard or the actual connector.
Correct.
Yeah. Thanks for adding that comment in there.
Cool.
So going back to more chat, more orange. Bill Sony says, I learned something new, Doug. I'd be interested to know what that was. Sam Van Thiel, the YouTube logo says it's YouTube instead of premium. Maybe there's an issue with your subscription. I don't understand what it could be because I've gone in to look at that, but I'm going to have to go examine it more. He says the YouTube logo says it's YouTube instead of premium. Let's see. Let's come back here. The YouTube logo says it's YouTube instead of premium. Where is he referring? Up here? Is that what he's referring to? If I come back to this tab, I've never really paid attention to where the word premium shows up.
Top left hand, yep.
So up here it should say premium?
Yes.
Correct.
All right, I'm going to see if my computer number 3, no, it doesn't say premium there. All right, so I'll watch out for that. Thank you for that.
Right next to the 3 bars, it should say premium.
Next to the 3 bars should say premium. Okay. So one thing that I tried on this issue yesterday, I shut down all my other computers and just started one up, and logged in, and it worked fine. And I started another one up, going to YouTube, and it's giving me advertisements. And then I log out of YouTube, log back into YouTube. Then that computer doesn't give me advertisements. I go to another computer, and it does give me advertisements. So I got to track that down. It's a nuisance. Then Jim's got a link to Sam. Is that something? Oh, that's Ubuntu. I don't see any reason I need to go there unless, Jim, you tell me I should.
No, it's a link for Linux and the rapid storage technology deal.
Oh, okay.
It's
gotcha.
the same. It's going to be. I'm almost betting it's going to be the same issue.
Yeah. All right. Even though his BIOS won't detect it.
Yes.
All right. I'll leave that in Sam's hands. Kenny, if you watch the video, it shows the missing drive that needs to be installed Windows USB Media to make it see the drive. If you watch the video, it shows the missing drive that needs to be installed on the Windows USB Media to make it see the drive. So this would be for Sam's issue.
Yeah, I can try that. That's probably what I'll try first.
All right. I'm going to leave that in your hands also.
Cool.
And then, and thank you, Kenny, for adding that. Yeah, Sam replies and says he'll try that. Scanning through, looking mainly for orange things. Sam Van Thiel to this link. I don't think I tried that one yet. What was this one about? He's showing the premium designation, I guess. Okay. Yeah. I do recall seeing the word premium somewhere, sometime, but I haven't really paid attention to it. So yes, I'll track that down. Are you logged in with another YouTube account that is not premium? No, I'm not, but I did come across something as I was doing some Google searches about it. Something to the effect of watching YouTube Premium on more than one computer at the same time, that would cause a problem. Well, I moved from one computer to another, so it's a very short period of time. In fact, sometimes I have, like when Carrie's on the live stream, I'll have it running on 3 different computers and I'll have them synced to each other. So as I'm going about the house doing my stuff, I'm watching the same video. And I've done that for months with no trouble. Okay, so no more oranges. I think I'd like to wrap this up. We're 2 hours, 42 minutes. and we've covered a substantial amount of ground on Alex's issue and Sam's issue. They both have their homework assignments. And we'll be eager to hear from you.
Cool.
All right. So thank you everybody for being here. Thank you for the contributions to the channel. I'm seeing a total of $17.90 that came through, and I acknowledged them as they were coming through. 38 viewers concurrently, 21 likes. Good to see you all. Thank you for coming into Zoom. Thank you for participating. And I'll see you next time I see you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. I'm ending the Zoom session. And then I'll put up my email address. Let's see, put that up here. Oops, that's not the right thing. Well, oh, here, this one. There we go. Email address, DougBetts at LiveWindowsTraining, if you'd like to request a one-on-one recorded session that I would publish later for free computer support, whatever your needs are. Or if you'd like to come into a live stream, into a Zoom session, just send me an email and I'll send you the Zoom credentials. They won't be changed until we have trouble with a participant. Then we'll have to change those credentials. So have a great day. Catch you later. Goodbye.